Welcome back, MTG Joe here, and we have a sub-submitted deck. So put out the question on some other videos with M21 what decks people were playing, what they were enjoying to see. So we are going to test out one of my YouTube subs, Dishonored's Dimir deck. So pretty much took it verbatim. I made a couple minor tweaks just based on personal preference. But this is pretty much what they had as their shell. So we'll take it for a spin, see how it goes. Dimir being blue-black and control, we're just trying to kill everything or counter, and then kind of run the game with a couple threats to close out. So the main change I made was I added into Teferi, Master of Time. I think this card's very good and allows you to really filter out your draw. Usually a lot of times with these control decks you might run into the wrong half question where you get stuff like Carnarium in your hand, but you're playing Temple, which doesn't really have targets. So this lets you loot away stuff that you don't need. Also works nice with stuff like Chemister's Insight that you can get rid of it as well. The other change I made was I got rid of Thought Erasure and just played Agonizing Remorse. The fact that this can pick off stuff in the graveyard makes it a little bit better. But pretty much we have a number of removal spells, eliminate Heartless Act, Murderous Rider, Cry, Extinction Event, Eat Extinction, and then you have counters like Negate, Neutralize, to kind of stem that card advantage in Narset, and then we win the game basically through Shark Typhoon or Lochmere Serpent, so kind of winning that way there. And then the mana base, pretty simple. We got some castles in here and then a blast zone as additional removal. The sideboard wise, Soul Guide Lantern, I tweaked this a bit. Soul Guide Lantern for Graveyard Hate, Noxious Grasp, went up to the full for Mystical Dispute, Cry, Carnarium, Hunted Nightmare is something I want to try to bring in against, so say like Temple, you could bring that in, they have a hard time. So similar to how decks will bring in Rotting Regisaur, because we want to keep our card advantage, I thought this would be something good to bring in against those decks. And then Thought Distortion versus the control decks to steal all their spells. One thing, I may want a 26 land. I want to play a game or so to see. And I may want Brazen Borrower somewhere in here. So I might cut like a Heartless Act and this Cling for Brazen Borrower. But we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. So I'm a couple wins away from Diamonds. I'm just going to play Traditional right now. I haven't tested this deck yet. But if you do have some decks that are cool, unique, kind of different takes off meta decks, do let me know in the YouTube comments, and can try to give it a spin. Originally was going to do Bant Ramp today, play some tier 1 decks, but don't feel like playing Bant, and I want to get through some standard content before moving to Historic. I think this hand's fine. Need a second blue source for the Neutralize and the Narset, but early removal helps. I've been running Simic Flash that we feature. It's up on YouTube now. We played it the other day. 5-0 with it right now. Really enjoying it. I'm making some tweaks along the way, so I'll update the list on Aether Hub if you're interested. I've been kind of refining some of the numbers. I actually don't think Brineborn Cutthroat's that good anymore in that deck. There's too many things that block up the ground now with like Green Stompy and decks like that. Okay, so this could be Bant, could be Temple. This is Bant. I'm going to drop Narset onto. Yeah. Could just be Ramp. In any case, Ramp usually has a hard time with when they can't draw cards. And then really I'm worried about their next turn, where they can have, or sorry, their turn 4 in this case, where they could have Nisa. This is a case where like Cry's not very good, most likely in this matchup, so I want something like a Teferi. Eat Extinction's a nice answer if they do resolve something later on. Okay, so no, we're not getting Teferi this turn, which is nice. Okay, so it is Bant. See what we got with Narset first.
Keep an open mind.
So we can Cling to Dust the Uro here. And then just neutralize whatever they play. It's not mistakenly. I wish they'd be consistent just with like what sides to cast, what sides not. Kind of want like a castle or something. Let's not have you resolve. This is where I'm a little concerned. Just we have a lot of removal. Like these three cards are pretty dead. Okay. Bant just said that's too much. So let's get rid of these cry. They don't even want to play us. Tier 1 deck in the meta concedes to a Narset on turn 3. Alright, pretty good showing to begin with. It's the one downside about playing in this queue. Well, opponent's sequencing is a little weird there. You let the Teferi whatever resolve. If they would have done the Shark Typhoon on their, like my turn, then they would have at least gotten a card draw. Hand's not good. Okay, we'll keep this. It's a good question what to put back. Probably gonna put back the Neutralize. Coming in the dark. Because ideally I draw an untapped blue source. I can Heartless Act whatever they play on 2. Healer Hawk. Perfect. So we'll wait to see what they kind of drop as their 2 drop. Okay, so blue-white flyers. Creature spells with flying, you cost 1 less whenever creature flying enters the battlefield. So we're going to kill this guy. And then play out Narset. So this is a matchup where Carnarium is good. And I probably don't want the counter spells. Like, other than Sephara.
My prowess is unmatched. Meditate and prepare.
This is actually interesting, because we do want to land, and I could Shark Typhoon, but I still think we take the Heartless Act. They disregard the Narset.
Hone your prowess.
There's all our lands. So I could technically neutralize to find a land for Heartless Act. I think we wait. I'm gonna take 3 here. I may want to counter what they come down with. I think I want to hit a land here. So maybe we should have done that. Hey, Quantum. Jeez. No lands. No lands. Going well. How about yourself? So they know about the Heartless Act. So I'm going to do this now. Sephara lets you cast for 4 mana. Sorry, for if you have 4 creatures and 1 white mana, so you want to keep them off that. We could be seeing a rally here. Really just want the land, because then we can Extinction Event their board. little silly now. Yeah, 26 lands. We're going to make that switch after this game. Like, there's a degree of variance that we're seeing here. So I'm worried about Rally the Wings, so I'm just going to do this. Yeah, too little too late on that land. So this is a Cry, Noxious Grasp, and probably Mystical Dispute. Coming out, Cling to Dust isn't that good. Let's get rid of the Neutralize. Let's get rid of the Narsets. And we need a way to win, so I still think we keep those. Probably cut the Negates. I want all proactive stuff. One Narset's probably fine. Run it like that. Gingerbeard man, thanks for the follow. I mean, we need a land. Having Cry, Extinction Event, and double Eat Extinctions, we should be able to hit them for a couple things, like at least a couple creatures here. I say that with our hand, and then we never draw another land. Anything but a land goes. Could probably got rid of the Agonizing Remorse. They're usually going to be without cards, so having that in hand is a little weak. Probably cut that, keep the Narsets. What'd I say? Never draw another land. Just going to do this now. So when we don't draw lands, I feel like they might have a counter or something, so %45 chance. Okay, you know what? Let's go add another land. We're testing anyways. Let's go see what we can add to make this deck a little bit more consistent. Yeah, but at that point, like, we're not really progressing our board plan. So I'm going to go up another Castle Locthwain. And to cut, I think I only want one Cry main. Let's run it like that. And this is why we play unranked when we first test out a deck, just to make sure the mana is right, stuff like that. I have been working on a historic deck that's not very fun for your opponent. It's Bant Teferi Tribal with Oath of Teferi. Opponent goes first. Sounds pretty bad. In the dark, I'll put Negate back. Yeah, I've gotten some opponents. I'll show you the list after this one. I had all 3 Teferis out and Oath of Teferi. So So I want to hit Teferi if they have it. Uro, Aether Gust. So let's exile one of them. They'll play their second Uro. Oh, they can't even play Uro yet. So I can Cling to Dust their Uro. So they'll get ahead on land here. But when they play this Uro out, I could Cling it, and then they don't get it. That's 2 Uros. I think most of these Bant lists play 3 Uros, so if we can exile 2 of them early, it bodes pretty well for us. Even if they resolve a Teferi, I have Eliminate. Just do that now. Even if this is like Jariel, I have Eliminate to kill it. And then I can start escaping once we get 5 cards in the grave. Okay, I think we're good for lands. If we can have some spells, that'd be great. See what's happening here. Okay. Well, I'm happy they blew a veto there. This is the reason why I like Agonizing Remorse over Thought Erasure. Don't think we want to vent here. They are just like a Hydroid Crisis away from getting back into this one. I think I want to be proactive. We want like a Shark Typhoon or something. We have enough removal in hand. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I had 9 mana, I would cast it. Yep. We tried to have it both ways, so 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This puts him on a 4-turn clock. We do this now. And that'll generate some card advantage. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna pass the turn, because then that way I could get them to... We'll take 4 here. I should have done this before the end step. Okay, that's fine. Aether Gust it. Typhoon's wild. Can also cling to dust. They're just dead, right? You can have your wolf. Surprised you don't see the wolves that often, main. So let's go disputes, noxious grasps. Okay, I'm just adding in a bunch of stuff and then we'll cut stuff. Don't think I want neutralize. Chemister's Insight could come out. Okay, we can see better like this. Extinction Event could come out. Trim a couple Heartless Acts. The Remorse are fine. Negates are fine. Do that. 3 cards to cut. Maybe Murderous Riders. And they'll have disputes. So, mind you, Narset's very good against this deck. Lockmere Serpent. I think we trim that. Run a little bit lower on curve. Let's try this out. It's funny, we've actually been able to take down Bant quite easily. But we lost to Flyers. On the, if we lose this one and then we're on the play, then I'll bring in more counter spells. I love a mystical dispute. This card's so good, but we're a ways away. Well, we're gonna kill little things, even if they resolve Teferi. I think we keep that. Just to be mana efficient, let's get this out. Let's do this now. Okay, that gets a dispute out of them. It's actually pretty good because if you play Narset, they could have also... Actually, they couldn't grow Spiral. They were missing another blue. Missing a land here is very bad. We'll take the 2 points, see what they play out, and then decide. Because if they have Nisa, I want to kill it before... they untap with it. I think I'm just gonna cycle this now. I have Eat to Extinction for I just really want to hit a land. Kill the wolf. 26 lines, and now this is game we won't hit our lines. If I can get like one more land and then be able to hold up Narset and something. Okay, so they shock there. This could be another ambusher. If it's a... Okay, that's fine. Again, I'd rather they use that on Narset. And this is kind of the reason why I wanted Brazen Borrowers, maybe instead of the Hunted Nightmare. It speeds up our clock against like other creature decks. Using our life total as a resource here. Yeah. Well, that's something we're interested in. So I'm going to go to full control here. With Uro on the stack. I'm gonna exile it. That way okay. So their turn is probably... Still need to do this now. The reason being is they can escape Uro next turn. This way they can't necessarily escape it. Then I'm probably just gonna hard cast Typhoon. Yeah, I can always Noxious Grasp it after. Unless they draw exactly Conquer's Death. I think we just take the 3 this turn. Pretty good tempo play from them, but at least they don't get to bounce our token that way. Okay, so they get the veto. We do get a 4/4, which is nice. They're gonna escape Uro. I'll Noxious Grasp it. Again, I'm gonna do this when the trigger is on the stack. It just limits the amount that they can draw into something. Making it seem like we might have dispute. They drew into veto. So I'm doing this on upkeep. That way if they have something they have to tap their mana, but it limits one of their draws. And now here I can draw cards with Castle Locthwain, or I can pump up Blast Zone. So attack with 2 of them. Just play that tapped, say go. Night pack. Sure. We'll crank this up to 4. Cling to Dust is very good here. So we'll get rid of Uro. We get another token here. I'm gonna wait for them to go to attacks and then block here. Pop the blast zone. Then we trade with the wolf there. Doesn't matter. Just exile here.
I shall miss your company.
Sick.